What's up guys, I'm BTC, welcome back to the Respawn where I answer your questions. Today we're talking custom maps being added to the official game, Bob as his own hero, and more. Today's video is sponsored by Audible. You can get a free audiobook to keep forever and support the channel by using the link down below. If you haven't tried audiobooks yet, this is a great chance. Even if you decide to cancel, you still get to keep that audiobook that you picked. There's also a great no-hassle return policy, and you can exchange any book you don't like for any reason. Today I'm recommending The Blade Itself, which is part of the First Law trilogy. This is a grittier style of fantasy novel with really awesome multi-POV characters. You should check it out. You can try this or any of the other books in the massive Audible library. Check the link down below. First question of the day, what about a hero that has card-based abilities, meaning that the abilities look like cards? I think this could definitely work. There's a bunch of comic book characters that use a similar theme. Essentially, they use magic or some sort of super advanced technology in order to have these powers that resemble magic tricks, simple magician stuff. So you could definitely do that in the Overwatch universe. They have hard light, there's nanotechnology, there's all these different things that they could definitely use, and it would make it look like it's, a magician trick, but in reality it's some other super advanced technological stuff that's going on in the background. Yeah, they could definitely do it. Next up, since you make heroes, will you make map designs too? Yes, in fact I've already started. I went out, got a notebook with some grid paper a little while ago, and I've been working on some. The thing is, as much as I enjoy working on the hero concepts, they're probably never ever going to be added to the game. I mean, it would be cool, but it's just probably not going to happen. Maps, however, are a different story, because if Blizzard does end up adding a map editor to the game, which I think they probably will, it might take them a little while, but I think they will, then the really good maps are going to get very popular, and it could be adopted into the official version of the game. In CSGO and Team Fortress 2, that is exactly what happened. There's a bunch of the official maps that started out as fan creations. I can't remember any off the top of my head, but I know for a fact a bunch of the CSGO maps that are now in the official competitive rotation started out as fan-made. So yes, it definitely could work. That's a way to get your stuff into the official game, and I am working on them. I don't have anything to show you guys yet, but maybe, at some point I'll be able to show off the custom map stuff. I'm really hoping that they can announce it later on this year. Moving on, is it okay to ask repeat questions if they're already listed in the Discord? Kinda yes, mostly no. Every week when I put up that question card, I see lots and lots of repeat questions, and some of you guys get frustrated, like, my question never gets picked. It's because you're asking a question that's already been asked and answered in a previous video, and I'm not going to keep putting the repeat questions into it, right? Like, there's a list in the Discord that has every single question that's ever been answered, so you can go and check that out, and yours is probably in there somewhere. Now, there are some cases when I'll answer a repeat question. One, I just forgot that it was already asked and answered, but the other one is something significant has changed and now my answer is going to be a little bit different, or maybe, there was just some other thing and it just needs to be brought up again. But for the most part, no, repeat questions, I'm just going to point you to the Discord. You can check out the master list and find the answers there. Next up, I'm a struggling Ana main in Bronze. Should I switch to a different healer to get out of Bronze? Alright, there's an issue with this. Short term, you could switch to Moira or Brig and probably rank up to Silver or maybe even Gold, but then there's going to be a problem with long term, because once you get into the upper brackets, then Moira and Brig aren't really that viable anymore, and you're going to need to be good at characters like Ana and Zenyatta. So you could do it to have a temporary short-term benefit to try to boost your rank a little bit, but then you're going to run into problems later on. Now, if you really want to play Ana, and that's the character you want, then I would practice that, and eventually you should be able to rank up with it. Next up, why don't you put the questions on the screen anymore? I don't think YouTube liked me doing that, for whatever reason. I can't get a confirmation on it or anything. Look, I'm trying to play by the rules, I'm trying to make entertaining content, and still have it be monetized and everything, but, it's tough. I don't know, it seems like they didn't like me doing it, so I decided to take it off. I don't know, if I can get any sort of actual confirmation from YouTube what they want me to do, then I'll do that, but that's why. Would there be any chance that Bob could become his own playable hero at some point? I don't think so. In order for that to happen, they would have to do a full rework of Ashe. They would have to give her an entirely new ultimate. Now, there are some issues with Ashe, and they may have to look at the character pretty soon anyways, but are they going to change the ultimate and give her something other than Bob? I don't really think so. See, the other thing is they would probably have to time it so that both of the things happen at the same time, right? Like, they would have to rework Ashe and release Bob at the same time. Because imagine what would happen where they give Ashe a new ultimate and Bob is suddenly gone, right? You're gonna have all these players that are like, where's Bob? I want Bob back. Bring back Bob. All these sorts of things, right? So they would have to release Bob as a new character in order to have Ashe have a new ultimate. Like, they would have to do it at the same time, otherwise people are just gonna complain about it. So I don't really see it happening. Next up, this is a really good question. What's the criteria for an ability cooldown starting when activated versus when it ends? So it's not like Blizzard has a checklist, but there are a couple of things that you can go by. So if you look at abilities like Winston's Barrier, Orissa's Barrier, Baptiste's Immortality Drone, the cooldown always starts when you activate the ability, and that's because it creates an object in the world. And that object can exist for a certain set duration, or it can be destroyed early by the enemy, and in which case you would lose some value for it. Now, what Blizzard wanted to do is they wanted to make it so that you could potentially get a lot of value from it, but they also want the enemy to have counterplay and to be able to destroy it early. So that's why the cooldown for those starts as soon as you activate it. And those abilities also tend to have slightly longer cooldowns because, again, they have to have the full duration of it, and then you have that extra gap in time where you still are waiting for the cooldown to go down. But then you have other stuff like Hanzo's Storm Arrow or Torbjorn's Overload. Those cooldowns don't start until after the ability has fully ended because they don't want you to kind of hold on to it, right? Like with Hanzo's Storm Arrow, they don't want you to just kind of hold on to it and wait until almost the full duration is up and then use all of it, and then, you know, you can activate it quickly with a shorter cooldown. So they wait until it's done because you're getting that effective power for the duration, and then when that duration is over, then it begins to cool down. And that's how a bunch of those other ones start. Now, again, there isn't any sort of checklist that goes along with that, and there are some of the abilities that break this kind of little guiding rule, but in general, that's how it works. If they want the ability to have a shifting value, then they will start the cooldown right away, or if it can be destroyed by the enemy, they start the ability right away. That's kind of what happens. Next up, what are the best maps to play Moira on? Anything where most of the characters have to stay on the ground level. General rule is if it's good for dive, it's bad for Moira. So something like King's Row is going to be good for Moira because everybody is on that ground. But Nubani, first point, everybody is going to be moving from the top to the bottom, back to the top, and all that sort of stuff. That's going to be bad for Moira. Next up, would a Fara armor buff be good? I don't really think that's a good idea. I've talked about this in the past. I think the best change that they could have for Fara is to give her a little bit better mobility in the air. Now, I'm not talking anything like what Mercy has during her ultimate, just a bit better control when you're moving around, because right now she's just kind of floating there, and it's a lot easier for the hitscan to deal with her now, particularly with all the buffs that the hitscan characters have been getting. So I think just giving her a little bit more mobility would be better, because then it's under the control of the player to avoid the attacks as opposed to just having that extra armor. Next up, when will the Hero 31 teaser start? I'm not really sure. I gave two options in a video that I just released. I went over all of the information that we have for Hero 31 and the possible release dates and who it could possibly be and all that sort of stuff. I'll put a link for that on screen and down below so you can go and check it out. But there were basically two options, that they would start the teasers before July 4th or they would start it after July 4th. And it looks like they're going to start everything after July 4th, or at least later this week. I don't think the character will be fully announced until at least next week. Since you did a rework video on Bastion, do you think you could do one for Reaper, because he's also in a bad position? I actually did make a video for Reaper a little while back. It has something like close to 700, 800,000 views. I know for a fact Blizzard saw it, and they just decided to ignore it. So, you know, it is what it is, I guess. I'll put a link for that video down below as well. You can go check that one out. Do you think there should be random skins option? Yes, I think there should be more random functionality for all of the cosmetic stuff. You should be able to set up the victory poses, the emotes, all that sort of stuff, so you just press the button and it randomly picks one of them. I think that would be good. Yeah, definitely. Next up, does the color of the arrow above your teammate mean anything? Yes, it does. So most of the time it's just going to be teal, and when it changes to yellow, it means that they've taken at least 1 point of damage in the last couple seconds. And after they've not been attacked for a few seconds, it will change back to normal. Now, if they're attacking an enemy, it won't change color. It only changes when they receive damage. So that's a way that you can tell which teammates are actively taking damage when it changes to yellow. And next question, when are you going to be live on Twitch? I haven't live streamed in quite a while. It's been several months since I've live streamed, but I am going to start again. I think I'm going to start with this next competitive season. Now, the times that I'm going to be streaming is probably going to be late afternoon, early evening for Central Time in the US. I don't know any exact times yet, but yes, I definitely do want to start streaming again on Twitch. That's going to be all the questions for this week. Thanks to everyone who submitted one. Remember that I post the question card every Saturday in the community tab of my YouTube channel, and a full list of every question that's been ever asked is on my Discord server. And once more, you can get that free audiobook from Audible. It's yours to keep forever. You can check that out, link down in the description. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss anything. Also, come hang out in my Discord server and my Twitch live stream. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to see what kind of cool VIP rewards you can get, check the links down below. And remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault.